Hello and welcome everyone to another instalment of Train Your Dog Month. I'm Katrina Firth from the APDT and tonight I'm joined by Jude Irvine. Hi Jude.
Hello, Katrina. Hello, everybody.
Can everyone see and hear us okay? Just pop a little thumbs up, reaction, say hello in the chat. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves just so that we know that everything's working fine. I'll just have a little look at that. Yeah, we got a little heart. Yay, good, it's working. So, Jude, you're based in Wales in Somerset and you run Woofit's Dog Training.
Yes. Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into dog training?
Okay. So I think, like most people, you get inspired by something, and my inspiration came in the form of 4 paws and a small puppy, and the desire to integrate him into the family with other pets, to be sociable and be acceptable everywhere. And so the journey began. So it was all down to a small dog who is always our biggest teachers, just introduced me into the life and the options that are available for training, and ultimately finding reward based training.
Great. And what dog do you have?
He's a little Cavachon, so he's a little crossbreed.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Anyone got a
You'll see
Cavachon
him on
in
the
the
video.
chat? Great. Yeah, lovely little dogs. They're really nice. Okay,
It's
so you're going
fun.
to talk to us about armchair training.
Yes, that's the idea. So, firstly, thanks very much for joining us. My idea for armchair training is purely based on the person remaining seated whilst playing these games and doing some enrichment and some tricks. And that's mainly because quite a few of the clients that I work with have some mobility issue. And so the ability to go outside and entertain and exercise their dog, it can be slightly more restricted. So being able to convert these games into being able to play it inside whilst you're seated really has a lot of benefits. But I do just need to say right from the out that actually what we really want to achieve with our dogs in the house is for them to be really quite nicely settled and relaxed. So, although I'm showing you how to do some of these exercises where it involves the dog moving, in reality, I wouldn't suggest that we do this too frequently, because actually we want our dogs to be quite settled and chilled out in the house and not constantly asking to play with us.
Perfect.
So, I've put this into 7 categories. So I'm just going to introduce the categories to you. My first category is polite food manners. So it's basically how dogs take food from our hand. The second category I've got a game in is distance. The third category is static, where the dog is stationary. The fourth category is assistance, so something the dog does to help us. The fifth category is where they're close to us, nice little games when the dog's nice and close to us. The sixth one is enrichment, so what we can do to help give our dogs some mental stimulation as well as some movement. And finally, it's just a little something from the trick category. And then obviously when we've done our playing with our dog, we've then just got to tell them that was enough and for them to go and settle. So there's an off cue where we just tell them that's enough now. Relax back down, settle down. Okay, so of these 7 categories, I've put them into either minimal movement or movement from our dog. So the sort of games that I play quite a lot in the house involves my dog having minimal movement, but there are moments where my dog really wants to play with me, and that certainly happened over lockdown, where we had COVID in our house and we weren't able to go out, etc. So that's what sort of gave me these ideas, that it's not just for those people who are like myself, get very weary in the evening. It's also for those people who perhaps are poorly and can't get out for a few days or whatever, but the dogs still want some nice games and some nice play, and it doesn't really have to involve a huge amount of effort from yourself. So, should we get started, Katrina? We're going to go with our first category in our movement, which is the category of distance. And for this one, we've done recall. So this is my dog. So we're going to be using video 3. This is my dog Dazzle, showing us how I play armchair recall. And I was really tired, genuinely was very, very weary when I took this video. So this is real life. Okay, so in the next category, we're going to be looking at distance, and in the distance category, I'm going to show you how I do armchair recall. I'm just having a little play with my dog, warming him up. So I really like, in the evening, when I'm really weary and my dog says, I'd really like to play, can we do something? I really like the opportunity to be able to sit down and relax slightly, at least take a load off, while my dog gets his enrichment and his mental stimulation. So here's how I play armchair recall with my dog. I'll just turn the camera around, and to warn you as well, you're going to hear a clicker because I use reward-based training, as most trainers do. So you're going to hear that click. So hold on a second, let's turn the camera around. So as you can see, I'm seated and he's ready to play. So I'm going to send him out on a biscuit, then I'm going to call his name, mark the decision, reward him when he gets back to me, good boy, and then I'm going to send him out again. Ready, go get it. So there he goes, he's off. Dazzle, good boy. Didn't quite get time to finish your own biscuit there, did you, lovely? Ready, yes, going to send him off again. Dazzle, good boy. You see, we can really build some speed up when we get some recall training in. I'll let him finish his mouthful. Go get it then. Dazzle. Okay, so in the next category, Dazzle, good boy. You see, we can really build some speed up when we get some recall training in. I'll let him finish his mouthful. Go get it then. Dazzle, good boy. Oh, skidding to a halt as well. Well done, good boy. And one last time. Have you finished your mouthful? Yeah, go on then. Dazzle, good boy. Oh, you clever, clever soul. So you notice I was clicking when he was the speed that I want him to respond to me at. Dazzle! There we go, he started running. That's when I'm marking it because that's the speed I want to reward him for. Good boy, off you go. Great, thank you. So I've done another little video as well. So I've included, this next video is of a different dog. It's one of the dogs that comes to my training class. It's a lovely little Springer Cross working Cocker Spaniel. So great fun, lots of energy. So sometimes he's the sort of dog where we have to use up a little bit of energy before we can get him to relax a little bit. So this is a 6.5-month-old puppy called Obi, and this is video 4, please, Patrina. Again, this is distance and we're on recall. It just shows how we start building up recall in our young dogs. Obi. So we've got Obi with us. We're just doing some armchair recall. He's only 7 months old, as we know. Obi. So recall's really important to do daily, but we don't always want to have to be doing it whilst we're standing up. Sometimes we can do it while we're sitting down. So this is just attention to name. This is just showing him there's value on returning back to us. And then when you're ready, if you'd like to show us how to get the gallop going on, how to really get the speed to return. Lovely. And when you're ready, you're going to put all of that together and you're going to do a full recall. Okay? Lovely, really well done. That was super. Great. So you can see the enthusiasm that the young dogs have once they really start to learn their name and have delight in recalling back through their name. So these are just ideas for people to give a go, perhaps in the comfort of their own home. If you've got a little bit of space, you don't need as much space as that hall allowed. You can see how I'd sort of built a corridor in my own home for playing recall. So the next category I've chosen is close, and this is returning to heel. So again, this is movement of our dog. This is Dazzle that's in this video. It's the movement of him, but it's really just showing how you can play these games, and it can be really good fun for them. Even if you're really quite weary, because I was certainly quite weary for this one. So it's video 7, if that's right, Katrina. Okay, so we're going to work in the category of close, and for close we're going to work on a little bit of returning to heel. So when we're off and we're walking around, whether they're on lead or off lead, sometimes we just want them to be nice and relaxed around our heel. So I've had a long day, it's been weary, he's ready to play, I'd like to have a sit down. So this is my armchair game of return to heel. Take a little biscuit. This is just his regular biscuits. There's nothing special about it. It's just his kibble, his dinner kibble. Throw it behind. When he catches me up, he gets marked for position, and then I throw another biscuit behind. So he's playing a nice little game of go find, but he's marked and then reinforced for returning back to heel. And I haven't had to move much. Good boy. He's a good lad. And you'll notice that when he hears the clicker, he knows that's the position I want him to come back to, because you'll notice that he stops. Good boy. Good boy. So that would be really useful if we gave it a little test. If I were to get up and start walking, would he just come with me at the heel position? Are you ready? Come on then, let's go. Good boy. And go back. Yeah, good boy. And good lad. Lovely. Oh, that's great. Yeah, so it's just a nice little game, the return to heel. You can easily do it while you're sitting down. It's really one of those games that you can do while you're sitting down, but it's nice to just check that you can get up and that it's still effective, that your dog's going to return to heel and stay at that lovely close position. So the next group that we're moving on to is another movement one. And this is in the category of enrichment. This is my dog's favourite game, is a Go Find It. So this is video 8, please, Katrina. Okay, so I really like to include some enrichment games from the comfort of my armchair, and this is one of them, a nice little Go Find It game. So it starts with your dog and a nice sit wait. Go find it. Good boy. Good lad. Oh, you clever boy. Good boy. And sit and wait. Good boy. Go find it. Good boy. Good boy. Sit. Wait. Go find it. Good boy. And sit. And wait. And then when you're able to throw out one treat and your dog will settle and sit and wait for you to release them, just see if you can scatter a couple out. Wait. Go find it. Good boy. Good boy. And sit. Good boy. Wait. So I'm going to take a handful this time. I'm going to do a lovely bit of a scatter. Wait. Go find it. Good boy. So you can see, I haven't moved very much. My dog's wanting to have a play. It's fairly late of an evening and I'm really happy to play armchair games with him. Great. So what I really love about the Go Find It games is you get a nice little sit wait. So they're relaxing. Well, they're not quite relaxing, but they're holding stationary, and then you're giving them a release cue. So this is when you're trying to just slow them down a little bit, get their nose to the ground, let them start sniffing, which will keep their feet down. They're using their brain. It's lovely enrichment as well as mental stimulation, but there's a nice little bit of movement. So this is when I'm trying to slow my dog down. If he's a bit excited about something, this is what I use to slow him down. So the next 4 categories are all quite minimal movement. So we're starting with polite food manners, and it's quite astonishing how easy it is to encourage and nurture polite food manners with our dogs. And this one is just showing how to do it when we've got food in our hand. This is video 5, and this is Obi again. Okay, so this is a young Sprocker, which is a Springer mixed with Cocker Spaniel. Very quick to learn, highly intelligent, a lovely, lovely soul. And we're just going to do some basic food manners with him. So food manners are not snatching and not muzzling and just relaxing to it. So if you let him come a little bit closer and get him into position, and then as he backs off, you can take it to him when he's relaxed and he's calm. That's lovely, very nice. So we know it takes 3 to 5 repetitions before they really understand what we're asking of them. That's super. And he's only a youngster. What is he? Is he 6 or 7 months old? 7 months old. So he's only young and he's learning beautifully. That's it, one more time. Oh, that was your best one. Brilliant, well done. Lovely. So it does go to show a few repetitions of, and they understand it. So keep these lovely sessions nice and short. Just give them a few minutes of something and then see if they're ready to go and settle and rest. The next video is video 6, and we're continuing our food manners, polite food manners, and this time we're using it with a food bowl. So it's video 6 and it's Obi again. So we're doing some food bowl manners. So drop the food into the bowl and gradually bring it to the ground. The dog is going to show lovely manners. And if he didn't show lovely manners, we'd simply pick the bowl back up again. But once it's got to the ground, you can give him a release to say go. Lovely. And do the same thing again. So again, we're going to do it between 3 and 5 repetitions. Oh, pick it up if he goes for it. That's it. So we're using the bowl to show what's acceptable manners.
Good boy.
Lovely, really nice. And that was his favourite paw wave as well. Do you want to give it another go? Do it a final time?
Okay.
Well done. Brilliant.
Good boy.
Lovely, well done. So it's great to see, because you realise how much self-control it took for him to just sit there and wait for that lovely bowl to just come down and be released so he could go and enjoy what was inside it. So although these are very much about politeness, there's also that tapping into their brain and making them think about what they need to be doing. And so again, it's that mental stimulation, which is so important. So the next category we're going on to is our static. And I've just chosen transitions. And you can do anything that your dog knows and just put them into a little sequence, whether it's sit, lay down, stand, roll over, shake a paw, anything, wave, anything, bow, the lot. So you can do it in any way you like. Just keep your sessions short and sweet. And I've just done a little one with Dazzle, and this is video 9, please, Katrina. Okay, so under the category of static, we're going to do a few transitions with our dogs. It's quite possible that you've taught your dogs a nice sit and a lay down, but you can start sequencing them and start putting them together. So I'm just going to move him back a little bit so that you get a little bit of an understanding of having a bit of distance. So, Dazzy, good boy, up, good boy, go back, good boy, and sit, good boy, and lay down, good boy, and take a breath. Good boy, very clever, good boy. So maybe I want him to come back up onto a sit position. You ready? Good boy. Good boy. So if your dog knows a few different positions, maybe a sit, a lay down, maybe a roll over, a shake paw, anything that your dog knows, maybe a spin or a twirl, try sequencing them together and having fun with your dog. Enjoy. Great. So as you can see, the dog is really focusing, really engaging, having a lovely time, being rewarded for doing something together. But equally, this is another one of those ones where we're just trying to slow them down, help them use their brain, offer some mental stimulation, and help them to just settle back into the house. So that was our static category. So we've got 2 left, and the next one is trick. And I chose shake a paw because I thought that was probably one of the easiest ones that you can teach your dog while you're seated. So if you want to play video 2, please. And again, this is Dazzle. Okay, so in the category of trick, I could have chosen lots of ideas came to mind, but I've chosen shake paw because I think it's a really sweet one. It's good fun to teach your dog. They really enjoy it, and if you're enjoying it and your dog's enjoying it, it's a win-win. What a great thing to have with your dog. Nice play times. So I have chosen a time when my dog was eager to play. He's just settled down again, so I'll just get him back up. Let me turn the video around. Daz, you're going to come play with me? Come on then. Come on then, round here. Good boy. Lovely. Shake a paw. Good boy. Great. So, yeah, as I said, we love the static ones. Just playing games can be absolutely anything. Teach them bow, shake a paw, come up on their hind legs into that beg position. Anything you like. Just as long as they're enjoying it and you're enjoying it, tricks are great. So the final category we're doing this evening is assistance, and I taught my dog to close the door. So this is particularly useful for me in my house because we've got 2 cats, and if anybody lives with a cat and they've got a cat like ours who bangs the door open, flings it open wide with a nice draft coming through, this is quite useful. So it's video 1, and this is how I chose to teach my dog to close the door. So I've used touch for this, and I know there's been a webinar on touch this week. So it does go to show how versatile touch can be. So it's video 1, please. Okay, so under this category of assistance, I'm going to show you how I've trained my dog to close the door. So I am that classic person who lives with 2 cats, and one of my cats is very gentle and wanders through doors quite quietly, and I've got one cat that thunders through a door, pushing it open, and I've then got a wide open door that I'm going to have to get up and then go and close. So in actual fact, the best thing that I've done with my dog that's helped me, particularly in the evenings when I'm a bit weary and my dog wants to play, is to teach him to go and close a door. So I'm just going to give you a little demo of it, and then I'll talk through how I did it. Hold on, I'm going to turn the camera around again. Okay, so this is my little dog who's sitting here quite happily, tails wagging. I know he's listening to me, and so I'm just going to show you what we're doing. So I'm seated, and there's the door that the cat has literally just come through. So that's what gave me the idea. So, Daz, are you ready? Good boy. Ready? Good lad. And close the door. Good boy. Clever, clever boy. Good boy. And as you can see, he thoroughly enjoys doing little jobs for me. It's great when the dog's got a job to do because they so thoroughly enjoy engaging and playing with us, and there's no pressure. If he didn't close it, it's not the end of the world. I'd just get up and do it myself. But he's pleased, and it does mean that I get to stay seated. So I'm hoping that this has given a bit of an inclination to give things a go, even if you're feeling weary. If your dog wants to play, there are some movement games you can play with your dog that gets them going, and then just settling them back down afterwards, doing some of the slower games to just get them to settle back into the house. Because ultimately, of course, we do want our dogs nice and settled in the house, but we will have moments when they've got a lot of energy, so let's direct it somewhere really appropriate. So the last thing I wanted to just say was, how do I tell my dog that we've finished playing and he needs to just go and take a load off and not ask anything more of me? And so thanks to Val and Chris and the education team, this is the idea I picked up from them. And that is simply to say to your dog, that's enough. And then just give them a handful of food and scatter it down. That's how I tell my dog that that's the end of the games. Just go and relax. Time to stop now. So that's the end of the videos. I hope you've enjoyed them. I hope it's also shown that it doesn't matter what breed or age or size or anything else of your dog, whether they're a young dog or an older dog. So my dog's coming up 9, or whether it's a small, young dog coming up 7 months. We can still play and engage with our dogs. And they still want to. And so if they want to and they're asking us to, it's really lovely to have some ideas up your sleeve to just what seems appropriate at that moment in time. So hope you've enjoyed Armchair training. And are there any questions or anything that we want to go through? Or actually, we've done quite well on time, haven't we? Because I don't know whether we're going to overrun.
No, we're fine. We're fine. Thank you, Jude. That gave me loads to think about in terms of what I could do with my dog when I'm sat in the chair, when I'm watching TV of an evening. My dog's pretty slow and getting old now, so she generally wants nothing more than to just curl up on the sofa and go to sleep with me. But for many people with puppies or younger dogs, adolescents dogs, I can see that in the evenings when you're like, okay, you want to do something, don't you? The armchair training is going to be the thing for you. So hopefully they've picked up some skills from your talk. It's really good.
Absolutely. So are there any questions or anything that have been posed at all? Anything that's popped up?
Just some little comments. So I think this might be one of your clients. Ted is actually looking for Jude, and every time she says sit, he sits down.
Good boy, Ted. That's the way. Good
Hilarious. Rachel, who's been watching every night, welcome Rachel again. Shake a paw or paw is great and helps with foot holding in vet practice too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Paul, who's also been watching with us. This is lovely, Jude. Just wondering if you've any experience of dogs around wheelchair movement, and has it affected your teaching? And if so, any tips to overcome?
Well, it's funny that you should say that, Paul, because I've just been recruited by Dog Aid, so I'm going to be becoming a registered dog aid trainer for those people who have disabilities and are training their own assistance dog. So come back next year and I'll have loads of tips.
Yeah. From my perspective, and you probably did some with Sandra Fraser, is the chair, the CEO, the oracle, the font of all wisdom. for APDT sometimes, but she's the head honcho at Dog Aid. She actually teaches assistance tasks on our instructor course. And we do some great exercises for the students where one of them will sit in the wheelchair and kind of experience what it might be like to actually train a dog when they're in the wheelchair as well, because you have to kind of put your head slightly in the learner's shoes, chair, space, whatever. So from my perspective, in answer to your question, Paul, would be things like teaching lead walking with a I'm using a pen, but with a target stick, so that the dog keeps a certain distance away from the wheelchair so that they're not going to go under the wheels. Also really useful for walking with a pushchair or a buggy. Just things like that. You probably did that on the instructor's course, didn't you, Jude?
We did, yeah. So we use the toss and turn method, which is slightly different to target sticks, but they're all really valid. And I think it depends on what you're trying to achieve out of it as well. So a manual wheelchair is very different to the electric ones, etc.
Cool. I'm just asking someone to clarify what they mean, because they're asking about energy, and I'm not sure that's quite what we're here to answer. Dog energy. What your energetics, energy, I'm not sure. Maybe you can just clarify that in the comments, April, about healing trauma from our pets. Not quite sure. Emotional support dogs and things like that. They are a bit of a thing in the UK, but not so much as in the US, where they're a registered assistance dog. So we don't tend to have them the same in the UK. Good. Sheena's just said, thank you, Jude. Digby has enjoyed this.
That's another one of my clients. Well done, Digby. Good lad.
Perfect. And just another little positive comment. Really helpful, Jude. This must be daunting, so well done. Great content. Yeah. All right. I don't think we've got any other questions. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Jude?
No, apart from thanking everybody, because as always, we stand on the shoulder of giants. So there are a couple of people that I do feel that have elevated me, and in particular Lorraine Garbutt, who's also an APDT UK member, who became a mentor and a friend and now a work colleague, and it's been fantastic. And obviously Val Harvey and the education team, because they're total gems, and I always enjoy every residential weekend I do with them. And you, Patrina, as well. Thank you for making this possible this evening. And I've got to say hello to all my clients, because it sounds like quite a few of them are joining us tonight as well. So well done, you lot. See you in class.
Great. Thank you, Jude. So that just leaves me to say thank you for listening, everybody. All the information about the APDT education courses are on the website, apdt.co.uk. Our assessments, which are the most rigorous, I think, in the industry. They're toughies, aren't they, Jude?
Oh, yeah.
They're worth it.
It's professional stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So the assessment dates for 2023 are on the website. So if you've been dog training for a few years and you've got some experience under your belt and you want to become an APDT member, then you need to have an assessment, and that involves theory. So you'll be sent some questions to answer, some essay type questions and other things. You'll then come and do a practical where you'll have to teach a class of people, and then you'll sit an oral exam where you'll sit with two assessors and go through your theory, and they might ask you some questions about your class as well. And that can all be found on the website too. And that's the dates for 2023. They get released every January. So if you miss out this year, you'll have to wait till next year to be assessed. Okay, so tomorrow I'm joined by Kat Williams, and she's going to be talking to us about how to have a lovely family dog. So tune in at 6, everyone. And thanks, Jude, again for coming and talking to us.
Thanks.